Political elites are taking a hammering these days. Britain's vote to leave the European Union and Donald Trump's uproarious presidential campaign are just two examples of a populist backlash against ruling classes seen as hopelessly out of touch with ordinary people. But has the political establishment really failed the people? Joining me to discuss this fraught issue is Janan Ganesh, the FT's political columnist. Janan, Nick Timothy, the Joint Chief of Staff to Theresa May, Britain's new Prime Minister, singled you out recently for criticism for writing that rich democracies may have to live with a caucus of permanently aggrieved voters amounting to a quarter or a third of the whole. He said this was typical of the political and media classes who know little of life beyond the circle line. Defend yourself, Janan. What is the truth here in terms of the way the political elites are failing the people?
Well, leaving aside the fact that I grew up beyond the circle line, it's absolutely right that as a new government you want to redeem and help parts of the country that have been allowed to fester and deindustrialise for decades. And that is where the vote against the European Union came from in June. So parts of the Midlands and the North, which really haven't made any economic progress, have actually gone backwards over my lifetime, really. But it's not as if no prior government has attempted to do something about these places. They have tried. There were regional development agencies under Labour. The last government, the last Prime Minister, David Cameron, was not completely indifferent to these places at all. They just failed in policy terms. And it'll be interesting to see how well the new government does, whether they can come up with ideas that somehow didn't occur to every single post-war government when it comes to helping parts of the country that have suffered. But there is a lot of anti-politics sentiment out there. And I would just look at the overall record over the past 40 years. This country is better governed, certainly richer, than it was in the mid-1970s when we had 20% inflation and there were questions about the basic governability of the country. So while the record isn't perfect, I'm not sure it justifies quite the level of venom that we've seen.
Are you suggesting that governments essentially just have to suck it up in terms of being unable to help places that are clearly not doing better and are not benefiting from globalisation, from the new world economy?
I think they shouldn't overpromise. I think one of the sources of frustration amongst voters who have been left behind by globalisation is that, especially in the early 90s, during the whole third wave period, Bill Clinton in America, Tony Blair over here, they were told that, yes, your primary industry in your local town may be gone, but through lifelong learning, through education, through investment, we can refit you for new and complex kinds of business. And it didn't turn out to be true. We just overestimated how much can be done by those kinds of government interventions. Now, that is not an excuse to stop trying. And I absolutely think the government should be doing everything it thinks might work to help these places and these voters. But you only create more frustration 20 years down the line. You only create another mood like we have now, 20 years down the line, if you promise these places that somehow you've got a genius idea which hasn't occurred to any previous Chancellor, Prime Minister, Industry Secretary in recent decades.
Let's just look for a minute, though, at the premise that globalisation and the management of the economy, you've been referring specifically to Britain, has actually benefited more people than it has failed. We have, for example, in the UK, relatively low, very low unemployment, certainly on historical comparisons. But it seems to be also true that a lot of people in work are amongst those people that are feeling frustrated, that are feeling they're not getting the benefits, that are struggling to make ends meet. So is it actually true that the political establishment has managed the economy successfully?
Well, the progress since the 1970s has certainly been uneven. And you're right to say that even people in work find that work incredibly insecure or less well paid in relative terms compared to the job that their parents did a generation ago. But I wouldn't underestimate the progress. You know, you weren't able to work a full week as anyone in this country during parts of the 1970s because of the energy crisis. We did have, I think, 24% inflation in the mid-70s. And what I find ironic is that there was a time when you could justly accuse the elites in big business, in organised labour and in government of being okay with national decline as long as their privileged position running the country was preserved. And that is a description not of now, 2016, but of, say, 1976, when the country was suffering economically, it was ungovernable. But because the firmament at the very top was fairly secure, they were kind of complacent about it until absolute crisis arrived in '79 and we had Thatcherism. So I don't for a minute downplay the things that have gone wrong over the past 3 or 4 decades. I just think we massively underplay and take for granted a degree of progress that somehow we regard as inevitable.
Janan Ganesh, thank you very much.
Thank you.